Hi YouTube, it's Roland here, and welcome to my 300 sub Q&A. Now before I begin, I apologize that this was actually running a little bit late. I did intend to get this done a bit sooner, but I have had college to deal with, so yeah, that's that. Obviously life, it's what gets in the way, but yeah, this afternoon I've got some time, and I figured I'd sit down and get around to recording it. So without further ado, here's my 300 sub Q&A, and let's answer our first question. So the first question comes from the Batman2292. What kind of series do you have planned in the future for your channel? Would you consider trying to set up battles with other YouTubers or even subscribers? So that's a good question. What I'm going to answer first is the second part of the question. So to an extent, I've already been doing some VGC best of threes. So far, I've done so with Martin Lombre, otherwise known as Basin2, and I've also done it with a few other people as well. I've done it with Omega Knight. And who else have I done? I've done one from I think some of my Nugget Bridge major matches in the past. So I do want to do more. I have tweeted a few people, and I must say there are some quality BGC YouTubers out there as well that don't get enough recognition. I feel that I've expressed doing best of threes with as well. So people of a similar channel size to me even as well. So I'm looking at perhaps doing a VGC best of three with Epilize, I think that's how you pronounce his name, Gabby Snyder, Sharpdress Gaming, and Tablemon, all in the near future. So I have contacted them in some form. It's just a matter of figuring out a convenient time with our time zone differences, because me obviously being in Australia has different time zones everywhere else. But I suggest you definitely check those guys out. They're definitely well worth a look. And yeah. So now to the first part of the question, what kind of series do I have planned in the future for this channel? Two things I've expressed that I want to do are FFAs and OU. And despite that, I also want to do from time to time like a discussion sort of video with a topic. So I'm actually in the process of editing one, and I've got a lot of things I cover in the one video. I'm going to make a video discussing a topic on genning and cheating in general in Pokemon, for example. So that's something I'm making sure I do give a balanced argument on. And once I'm happy with where it's at, then I'll probably release it. And so I do intend to bring quite a few different series to the channel. With regards to FFAs, I like watching FFAs myself. They're very unpredictable, and I like some of the shit talk that goes on inside as well. It's kind of funny as well. So but that's the thing, it's very entertaining content to me, so I definitely am interested in doing FFAs if people are up for doing FFAs. And OU content, I've actually been meaning to post again for a little while now as well. Admittedly, I became very competitive with VGC and stopped playing OU for a little bit, although when I do stream, I do play OU as well, just to change things up, and because I'm also aware of the fact that people who will watch my stream will probably play OU as well. So I do cater to that thing. I do cater to that sort of audience. When it comes to me posting OU content, I haven't done so in a while on YouTube. In fact, that's what I started with. So I'm definitely keen to get back into Smoke On content, and definitely been reading up about the metagame lately as well, because I've actually not touched most Smoke On metagames too much, or played too competitively since just up until the lead up of ORAS release. So that's pretty much when I took VGC more seriously than OU. But I definitely do intend to get back into OU. And yeah, I think that answers that question. Next question is from Alyssa Zatu Dawson. Nice job, first of all, dude. Thank you. And it'd be cool if you said that your fave Pokemon is. I could take a guess, but I don't know. Also, what's your first shiny Pokemon? Because I know they're pretty cool kind of Pokemon. Again, congrats on getting 300, no easy feat, right? Yeah, so certainly no easy feat for an account that's 5 years old, I'd say, and that's had some hiatus in between, but thank you nonetheless. So yeah, also, what's my first shiny Pokemon? I actually remember my first shiny Pokemon being a shiny Hoppip in Pokemon Crystal, the day it came out in Australia. So I actually remember falling asleep too. Like, I was playing Pokemon Stadium 2. I was raising like a balanced team to get through the game, and I was using it on the Stadium 2 Game Boy Transfer Pack, and I fell asleep, and when I got up I was like, oh crap, I forgot to save, and I saved right away, and I was like, thank goodness I didn't knock the control off my bed in my sleep or something, because then I would have lost a shiny Hoppip and felt very stupid. So yeah, I'm very grateful that me falling asleep in real life did not equate to me losing my save data, having not saved the game, and pretty much had me a shiny Hoppip on my crystal cartridge. And also, what's my favorite Pokemon? Favorite Pokemon is Lucario. It is my namesake. So yeah, although I should use Lucario a bit more, having said that. It is my favorite Pokemon, so I should look for ways to use my favorite Pokemon in my uploads. So yeah, now I think about it, I really should be using my favorite Pokemon a lot more. So then our next question is from OML, It's Too Easy. First off, grats on 300. I'd like to ask about your channel since I'm a pretty new sub. How did you come up with your YouTube username and mascot? What motivated you to do YouTube? I see a track and field shirt in this video, should you run for us? Well, I actually used to be a very big runner until I decided to get into weights. I'll probably go into a bit more of that now, actually. Yeah, I'll probably get it all out of the way now. I actually used to work for a gym. I used to work for Fitness First as a receptionist. And back then I was pretty into cardio as well. But then I slowly changed over to the weight side of things too. Although, admittedly, I haven't been doing as much cardio as I should be. Like, I used to be... I even got to a stage where I was fit enough to do 6 cycle classes and 2 high-intensity interval training classes in one day. So I definitely actually want to get back to that fitness level now that you mention it. So I have been upping my cardio quite a bit more recently. And pretty much me wanting to bulk up recently is just more of a personal thing for me. Thinking to myself, well, I've always done cardio before. I wonder if I should take a trip to the other side to see how strong I can get. So yeah, I do lift. I'm getting there. Definitely putting on some muscle mass. Definitely doing a lot of leg workouts. Definitely doing a lot of chest workouts. Chest is like my main thing, but usually I do legs every time I work out. But as far as fitness related things go, yeah, I like to keep fit. Whether it be through cardio or through doing weights. Although I am trying to get my program, as far as fitness training goes, back up to some more cardio. And I'm the sort of guy that needs music to do cardio. I will say that now to you as well. So whether it be going to a gym class or having some music to listen to, I find I need music to do cardio, but I actually don't listen to any music on an MP3 player other than what's playing in the gym when I do weights, because I'd rather just focus on doing the weights and the technique properly as opposed to having earbuds in my ear. So yeah, there's that. So in terms of how did I come up with my YouTube username and what motivated me to do YouTube? My original YouTube username was Rolly702, and then when YouTube integrated Google Plus, I jumped at the chance to rename my channel, so I renamed it to Lumario. And pretty much I thought to myself, I was thinking to myself, well, my channel right at the moment is based around a lot of Pokemon content, but I always was thinking to myself, what would be a good username to perhaps down the road be reflective of offering different content as well as Pokemon content. So I thought to myself, okay, well, I like Lucario, and I still like Nintendo, so Mario, and then thought to myself, how about Lumario? Because it's like a merger of those two names. It's like a fusion of those two names. So I was like, okay, Lumario. Hell, even if you took Lucario out of the equation, someone could assume that I was using a combination of Luigi and Mario and made that into Lumario as well. So it kind of, I thought I'm like, yeah, I like this username, and then I went ahead with it. What motivates me to do YouTube? I've always pretty much been, when I started doing competitive Pokemon on YouTube, I watched a lot of other people. I remember back in the day, I watched the Flaming Spade, Xenon 1320, the Killer Nacho, Shofu, all those sort of people, and I was like, gee, I really want to do some content like this. And I remember when I was out with friends or bored and whatnot, I'd even just look up on Cerebi and think, gee, I wonder what sort of Pokemon, what this Pokemon can do, and what it's capable of doing. So I always used to look up on Cerebi on my phone and I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. So I was like, yeah, and then eventually, when the simulators were more available to everyone, I started to play competitively, and then when Black and White came out, that's when I decided, right, I really want to start posting content. And yeah, so that's pretty much how I got my start. So that was a very good question, very good set of questions actually. So yeah, so thank you OML's Too Easy, and now on to the next question. The next question comes from Nick the Ninja. What is behind your green sheet? If you don't answer, please animate a Lucario on it doing something Kamehameha for the entire video. What's actually behind my green sheet is my wardrobe. So I think I showed in my room tour actually that the green sheet is actually held up by the lamp of the stand and a 24-port D-Link switch of all things. That's what it's actually holding up, and a monitor. So very lazy way of doing it, but yeah, I do enjoy using my green screen. I think it really adds a professional touch to a lot of videos as well. So I mean, I can blend in with the background. I even used to green screen my chair, but I know I get weird banding. I don't know if I need to improve my lighting, but I get this weird sort of banding, pixelation stuff I don't like. If I use different software, like I know OBS MP, if I set up the filters, you can set up multiple filters to get rid of the green. But even to that extent, I was like, oh, maybe it's a bit too much just to green screen out the furniture as well. But if I improve my lighting in the future, I probably will start green screening the furniture again, so I just appear in the image and blend in with the background. So yeah, there's that, and that's pretty much why I like the green screen. Well, I think what led me to getting it in the first place, so I looked at other streamers using it, and even a few other YouTubers, and I was like, I really like the effect of what a green screen can do for your content. So I was like, why don't I do the same thing? And yeah, as you can imagine, it's been something I've enjoyed having in my videos to use. So thank you for your question, Nick. So the next question comes from Blazing Charmeleon, who I should be doing a collab with soon as well. I do have to make some time for it, but if I can get it in the space of this weekend or next weekend, I definitely do plan to do a collab with him. And I must give him a shout out too, because he actually gave me a shout out on his channel. So I definitely suggest you guys check his content out. And you know, he's someone I'd like to work with in the future, because he's expressed wanting to work with me. So definitely very keen to do that. Blazing Charmeleon asks, "Rats on 300. Can we be friends?" Of course we can be friends. I like to think of all my subs as friends. What's your favorite type? And hi. So I'd probably say fighting is my favorite type. Not just because Lucario is my favorite Pokemon, but because most fighting Pokemon designs are very aesthetic. And hey, I like aesthetics. I can show how much I lift. That's enough about me to show off. But if I had to look at fighting Pokemon that probably weren't like super aesthetic, or it was very obvious that they were a fighting type, I'd probably say Terrakion is close second, in the fact that it's a quadruped. And yeah, I mean, the other reasons I suppose I like fighting so much as well is because, hey, at the moment, fighting really is a relatively good type, especially if you're dealing with Pokemon like Bisharp and Mega Kangaskhan, which pop up quite often in BGC. So yeah, I mean, fighting always, yeah, I suppose those pretty much explain the reasons for me liking fighting type Pokemon so much. So thank you for your question, Blazing, and now on to the next one. So our next question comes from Brady Smith. Congrats on 300. I would like to know what events you've played in for BGC and how you placed them. Just curious. Okay, so I've played BGC since BGC 11. I played, yeah, pretty much. Australia actually wasn't included in BGC back then. However, we did have tournaments that were run by Nintendo that adhered to BGC 11 rules. But for whatever reason at the time, we were allowed to use the Wonder Launcher. So that created for some very interesting scenarios. I actually have a few videos on my channel from which were recorded back then, and yeah, definitely was an interesting time. But that's when BGC in Australia was just pretty much starting out. So for BGC 11, I placed top 8 in 2 different tournaments. One at Maya in Sydney, and the other I went to Melbourne for at in EB Games Experience. So yeah, quite some time ago, but I still remember going there. And then 2012 came, and VGC was pretty much bleh. So there weren't any official competitive events for that year, unfortunately, or at least in Sydney. I know. I think I'm aware of a couple in Melbourne, but not in Sydney for 2012. When 2013 came around, and when X and Y were announced, pretty much that was pretty, that created a lot of hype. And obviously that was the year for VGC 13, obviously. And that was also another good year because for the first time, we got included in Worlds. So that was cool. So yeah, VGC 13, I didn't do the greatest at official events. However, oddly enough, I managed to win a grassroots tournament and an anime convention the week after VGC 13 Nationals. That was kind of cool, I guess. In VGC 13, I remember losing to because of a media miss to, I think, on a Scrafty or a Cresselia. Admittedly, I did use a Ray Rizzo copy team for that VGC 13 Nationals, but I did get my revenge on that player earlier this year at City Regionals, and I think her name was Emma. So yeah, I think it was Emma, yeah. And VGC 14, obviously that's when X and Y was released. And yeah, VGC 14, lots of grassroots tournaments I had consistent top 8 finishes at. There was one grassroots tournament where I was just missed out on cut, which was annoying, so I came 9th. VGC 14 official events, I didn't do so well. At Sydney Regionals, I managed to play rough my own Garchomp. Yeah, I was like, ugh. So I misclicked and played rough my own Garchomp. I was like, what the hell? If I didn't do that, I more than likely could have won that game. The annoying thing is too, there actually would have been a good chance for me to come back from that mistake as well in that game had I got a higher damage roll. But that didn't happen either, and I felt all the worse for it. So yeah, and then I went to Brisbane Regionals that year, didn't have the best of luck there, but later on in that year, I did manage to win a grassroots tournament run by UNSW Pokemon Society. And yeah, so I have an odd, at least in those 2 years, I had an oddity of being able to win grassroots events, but do weird or strange or bad in official events. This year, thankfully, the trend wasn't the same. For VGC 15, I came 6th at Sydney Regionals. Originally, I thought I came 8th, but according to the PGL data, I placed 6th. So that was interesting. So yeah, there actually are a few matches from that Regionals event as well on my channel. I actually never got around to doing the rest, but if I can find the rest of the codes on my cartridge, I may upload them as well. And I've also placed 7th twice at Burwood Premier Challenge. Burwood Good Games Premier Challenge. And Burwood, I should also mention, is actually running another Premier Challenge at the end of November, which should be cool for this VGC season. I did go to Melbourne. I did go to Melbourne Regionals, but unfortunately, I was cursed by some bad flight arrangements, we'll say. I felt like punching the airline in the face, needless to say, but I did get to Melbourne in the end. But unfortunately, the stress did take its toll on me, I would say. But I did go to Melbourne Nationals, so I actually forgot to mention this nearly, but I'm glad I can edit it in now. At VGC 15 Nationals this year, a bunch of us went down. We actually formed our own VGC team called the Sydney Sweekoons. And yeah, we all have shirts, and we've all played together for a while, so we thought it'd be kind of cool to have our own VGC team. And yeah, so massive shout out to everyone in my VGC team. And at VGC 15 Nationals in particular, what had actually happened this year is what happened was in my first round actually, I played Sean Ronzanzi. Sean Ronzanzi is actually the brother of our BTC 13 representative Hugh Ronzanzi. We actually tied in our first round in our best of 3. In game 2, more specifically, we tied. The circumstances of which triggered the tie was I think I was on my last Pokemon, Kangaskhan versus Landorus T and his Melodic. Landorus T is in fake out KO range, so I go straight for KOing the Landorus T. And then his Melodic goes for Scald, does not burn Kangaskhan. Timer runs out and we draw. And when the timer ran out, we were actually on exactly the same amount of remaining HP, 36 HP for Melodic and 36 HP for Mega Kangaskhan. So that was very interesting. Usually the game would look at the higher remaining percentage of HP, at least that's what's commonly fought. But in this case, it didn't seem to think about that. So at first I would have thought that Sean's Melodic had 181 HP, but I think it had 200. But then people point out to me 36 out of 181 is a higher remaining percentage than 36 out of 200 and something HP. So I'm not sure, I can't remember the exact specifics of the Melodic's HP, what its EV spread was, but nonetheless we drew, and that was funny. Sean ended up making it through to top cut, I think, at the end of the day, and was the only person who had a draw on his posted results. Mikata asks, what is my favorite color? My favorite color is blue. I like blue. I'm blue. Double T, double die. Double T, double die. Double T, double die. In before copyright infringement. Next question. So Metatype asks, hey, I have a question. How and when did you start playing casual Pokemon, and at what point did you turn to the competitive side? So I have played Pokemon since Generation 1. And I did battle... I was actually 10 years old about that when I started playing. So I remember being in grade 4 and getting Pokemon Yellow, having played on an emulator in Japanese beforehand, English when it came out, and then getting Yellow on Game Boy just so I could play with the kids at school. And pretty much I remember little me remembers, hey, can you make my Pokemon level 100 for me on your red and blue cartridge? So yeah, so that was interesting. To me, I would have thought that was competitive at the time, in the context of the time, because very simulators or an official rule set didn't really exist in that time frame. So yeah, I enjoyed playing people of Link Cable and all that sort of thing. And I mean, I attended events as well. I've pretty much give you an idea. In fact, I've probably attended the majority of events for Pokemon in Australia in my life. I remember going to a 1999 event to get Mew. I remember going to the Celebi event in 2001. I remember going to the Ruby and Sapphire release tournament. They actually had like a let's play sort of thing to see who could get through the game the quickest. And at the end of that specific event, the two people that had the highest combined level of Pokemon, I think, and were the furthest in the game, got to face off and battle each other. And that event was cool. I actually got Ruby a week early before release, so I was very pleased with that. So 13, 12, I think it was 12 or 13 back then. Yeah, 13-year-old me was thrilled to get a game a week before official release. That was kind of cool. But yeah, I also remember going to Diamond and Pearl event. Then after that, things went quiet, and then Black and White events, all the VTC events I mentioned previously, happened. But yeah, I've always had an interest in Pokemon. Pretty much, I suppose you can say, if there was any way I turned competitive in the official context of modern competitive, aside from VGC and Smogon, I pretty much got into Smogon formats late. I'd say late 09. I didn't play too much, but pretty much Black and White is when I got very serious about that metagame in general, like Smogon metagame. And then obviously VGC events happened in Australia as well, so I got into VGC as well. So yeah, I hope that answers your question, but I've always had some form of a keen and strong interest in Pokemon, and as far back I've attended a lot of events of Pokemon, so yeah, I suppose it sums up a lot of how and why I've liked Pokemon through the span of my life. Brings us to the end of our Q&A. So I'd like to thank you, the viewer, for watching. I do apologize if I didn't answer your question in particular. I have had time constraints, so I can't answer every question, unfortunately. To also give you an idea, I actually was rendering this video, then I was editing something in Photoshop. Photoshop crashed. I saved my work in Premiere, rebooted my PC. PC never rebooted normally. Turned my PC back on and lost my timeline. So yeah, I've had to sit here and re-edit the whole damn thing again all over again, which was a bit frustrating. But yeah, you sometimes need to put up with that. But yeah, thank you guys again for watching. I'll see you guys in the next upload, and have a good day. Thank you for watching. Why not check out some of the other content on my channel? I hope you all have a great day.